Okay, YouTuber, so today I'll be doing a tune-up on a 2006 Porsche Cayenne. So I'm going to go over the step, how to do it, because the problem with this car, I have a misfire. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is change all the plugs, and then we go from there. So I finished the left side, and I'm on the right side. So you have to remove this pump here. So I have 3 screws. And then you have to remove the cover, this cover that covered the coils. And on this side you have a engine mount that helps to stabilize the engine. So you have to remove the screws, the bolt that go here, release that, release this one so it could be free. So you pull it up. And there's 4 bolts that bolted on the head. You remove this 4 bolt with the bracket here. You have to disconnect the ignition coil wire so you can just bend this over. Go ahead and remove the 4 before there's a 10 screws on each coil. So when you finish that, you can disconnect all your wire on your coil. Okay, and remove your coil one by one. This is the ignition coil. 1, 2. You just have to pull them up. 3. And 4. So it's 4 on the right side, 4 on the left side because this is a V8. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and remove our plugs. Okay. And for me, in this case, I use two plugs. The socket for the plugs. Because why I use 2 sockets, one have no rubber inside and the second one has a rubber inside. So when I'm taking out the plug, I use the one with the rubber, and when I'm putting in the plug, I use the one without the rubber, because sometimes what happens is sticks, and when you come out, the socket stays in and the extension comes out. So you have to go back, undo the plug and try to free it up. But when you have the one with no rubber, when you put in back the plug, it just come out without sticking, you know, because the rubber locks on the plugs. So if I use the one to take the plug out, so when I taking out the plug, the spark plug is going to be stuck on the socket. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove all the plugs. But for me, I like to do plug individually. If I take one, I put in one, because you don't want anything to get into that hole, so you want to do them one by one. That's the most safest way you want to do, because you don't want nothing to drop into that spark plug hole. Okay, any metal or anything like that. So when you take out the plug, you inspect it. Okay, this plug, you can see a little bit arcing coming out, but not much like some on the other side. So I get the other plug, you hold it like this. You put it against the valve cover and you release it down slowly. And what I do now, I change my socket. This is the one without the rubber. Okay. Push it in the hole. What you're going to be doing, you're going to feel there's a soft spot. And you tight that. You gotta feel that soft spot, because what happens is it's a new seal. So when you feel that, you have to tighten it so you don't feel it anymore, because it's squishing, but it's make a perfect seal on the head. Okay. So I relieve my tool. So everything comes out. There is no sticking because there is no rubber in this one. So that one is finished. I'm gonna go on to the second one. Put back the one with the rubber, so that my plug can come out. Okay. On the right side, the only thing that is difficult is to take the bracket out. It's not difficult, but you do have to do some more work. Then the other side don't have that. See? See, this one is more, you have more arcing out of this plug here. You can see the brown spot there. Okay, where the spark is escaping, you don't get a full spark going to the combustion chamber. So what you're doing, you're losing power. So when you're losing power, your computer is going to pick up there's a problem, and it's going to give you a code for misfire or random misfire or multiple misfire. Like when you have more than one cylinder, it's doing the same thing. Okay, so for a problem like this, the best thing you do first is to change all your plugs. Okay, and if the problem is still there, then now you have to go and clear your code, restart your car, drive it, see if any code gonna come back, and then we check to see what cylinder is making the problem. Because when you have multiple misfire, it's like it's telling you that there's all the cylinders are misfiring. Okay, so that's why you always start with the spark plug first. So we're gonna install the second plug. Change my tool again. I'm on plug number 3. We're going to examine this plug. So you can see the difference between this plug and this plug. This plug is now starting, but this one you can see that you have a problem with this plug here. Okay? Plug number 3. If you use the extension with the flex, so the flex help to give me different position there while taking it out, because different angle in the valve cover, in the head, and I have different obstacle here. This one is more cleaner too. This is the last plug. You just slide it down gentle as possible in the hole. That's it. So I'm finished changing the 4 plugs. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a tip on knowing which plugs or which cylinder is no good. Okay, so we have, let's say you have a 4-cylinder engine, you have 4 coil. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what if you want to know that there's a coil is no good, you can disconnect the screw from the coil. Don't disconnect the connector from your coil. Okay, so what you're going to be doing to test which cylinder is or which coil is no good, you're going to be lifting up the coil with the engine running, and then what's going to happen, you're going to hear for different change in the engine. Okay, so which coil is dead or the coil that is giving you the problem, your engine is not going to respond. Your engine going to run the same way. So let's say for example you pull a plug out and your engine change, the engine go down a little bit and start to shake, so you know that plug is good. Okay, because you just disconnect the spark plug, so you know you're losing power right away, you know that plug is good. So you're going to go to the plug until you find no change in the engine. So when you pull the plug out, the engine runs the same. There's no change in RPM or anything like that, so you know that that coil is no good. So you replace that coil and that's it. In some other case, even a show you have a, let's say you have a little scanner you buy from Canadian Town, you get a misfiring plug at number 1. What you can do, you can clear the code, take number 1 coil, put it in number 2 and number 2 coil in number 1, and then you see if the problem changed from number 1 to number 2. Okay, so that's the next trick. You can know how your coil is working or your coil is not working. Okay, but the main thing in a rough idling or misfiring, if like someone bring a car with you for that, is just you clear the code and you double check it. But right if the car is running rough, and first you're going to want to check your spark plug, because spark plug can do that problem, can cause that problem. Like if the coil is, then if you've changed the plugs or the customer said the plug been changed, then you know you have to jump right away to your coil. So first make sure you have good plugs, and then you diagnostic gradually as you go to find the problem. And it's for misfiring, it's not that big of a deal. It should be very easy to find it. Either you plug your coil, and then when you go into more deeper problem, you can have your injector. Okay, you can have your computer, you can have an injector wire broken, and that's we talking real electrical problems there. Okay, so it's a lot of stuff. If you know, if your coil is good, your plug is good, you have to check your wire in the individual cylinder that is misfiring. So that's going to be like a more technical aspect. You know, it's going to be more looking into electrical, the ground, and whichever one is giving you the problem. Okay, so that's it, how you check for a misfire on any car, not just Porsche, Cayenne, 5. It's just the same principle work on all cars. Okay, the same principle. So it's not just for Porsche, Cayenne, it's for any car that has a spark plug with ignition coil. Then this is the ignition system. But then when you go into a different system like the distributor system, that's a different one. You have to check for, there's a coil there, there's a pickup, there's some other ignition stuff there, like a crank sensor and all this stuff. So that's a different one to this, but basically it's, I can't say the same principle, but the same firing order and stuff like that. So that's what you have to look out for. So what you're going to be doing, I'm going to be putting all the coils in, and putting back everything is just the reverse of what you'll be doing. Put your coil, put back your screw, put back your engine mount, put back your cover, put back your pump, and that's it. Ready for start the car and see if the problem went away, or you have to go into further diagnostic. So thanks for watching. That is how to do diagnostic on any ignition system car, and I hope that this video helped you. And I hope I'm been clear enough, and subscribe to my channel for a lot more interesting video in the future. Okay, and like.